Hi, I'm Dr. Andy. Welcome to The Advisor, a channel everybody loves to hate. Happy New Year. By the way, just tolerance is not always a good thing, especially if you're tolerating bad behavior. Now that we've got that out of the way, what should we talk about today? Well, I kind of want to talk about the way President Barack Obama is choosing to usher in the new year, basically following what we might call a scorched earth policy with the Russians. It appears that basically what President Obama is trying to do is to create as much ill will as possible in the hopes of possibly ushering in a war with the Russians or some real serious diplomatic breakage before President elect Trump can get into office, so that perhaps the scorched earth policy could be Trump's legacy, hoping that Obama can facilitate failure for the new president. This is a wonderful way that Obama appears to be looking after the best interests of the American people. What am I talking about? Well, we know that Hillary lost the election, and if you're not sure why she lost, I really would encourage you to go back to one of my earlier videos, Trump, the Real Story. I'm kind enough to lay out for you the real reasons as opposed to what the media tells us and what the left tells us about why Hillary lost. I don't really want to go into that. But basically, they've gone through a whole series of scam versions of why Hillary lost, the latest of which seems to be that the Russians hacked the DNC and destroyed Hillary's chances of being the queen and the rightful heir to the throne of the American presidency, given that her last name is Clinton, or something like that. At any rate, what I'm talking about here is this whole thing. First of all, they don't really have an iota of proof, at least not that's been released of any of this. But the interesting thing is, even if it's true, all the Russians did is expose the cheating and the lies. They didn't create all those thousands of emails. They didn't create, the so-called 30,000 yoga routines that Hillary is saying were not State Department property. They were personal emails, and that's why she deleted them. We've gone back over. I've talked about that in another video. Yeah, okay. If you do that much yoga, you probably wouldn't wear a pantsuit. Sorry, but anyway, I mean, the point of the matter is that even if the Russians actually did, and I doubt they did, the things that they're being accused of doing, it probably wouldn't have made much of a difference in the election anyway. I mean, Hillary had pretty much a lost cause for a number of other reasons long before any of those things happened. But at any rate, what I find interesting now is, so the latest thing that's happened is Obama went ahead and expelled 35 Russian diplomats. 35 Russian diplomats, because he feels bad that Hillary didn't win and he wants to blame the Russians. So he went ahead and expelled 35 diplomats over this hacking nonsense. First of all, everybody's hacking everybody all the time in 2016 anyway. So, there's probably about 30 or 40 incidents of the same nature going on right now with the Americans to other countries as we speak. So, this outrage is just a little bit much to take, okay? But, so he's going to expel 35 diplomats, and here's what I think is kind of funny. The foreign minister in Russia went up to Vladimir Putin, apparently, with a list of 35 Americans and said, we need to, retaliate against these terrible Americans and what's being done by sending out and getting rid of some of their diplomats here in the Kremlin, here in Moscow. And so President Putin said, no, we're not going to do it. And then he goes to the press and basically issues a statement saying that, he said, this is we're not going to do this. We're not going to make lives for the American diplomats difficult here. We're not going to take any movement against the Americans at this time. We'll wait for the president-elect to take office and see how it goes, basically, which is, it's kind of funny. He's basically saying that he doesn't really take anything that Obama does with any kind of seriousness. Now, I think it's kind of unique, a bit funny that a foreign leader would do this. And basically then he said he invites all the children of the diplomats to a party at the Kremlin. Happy New Year, which is really, I mean, the irony is quite rich because, basically what Vladimir Putin is saying is, I know what you're trying to do. We know that you're trying to do a little scorched earth with, to try to burn things up so bad that when Mr. Trump gets in, he's not able to repair things. I know the game you're playing. I'm just going to ignore it and just wait it out. So I think it's pretty cool that and pretty responsible of Mr. Putin to do this, and incredibly irresponsible of Barack Obama to, over a little personal grudge that is, his girlfriend Hillary, whatever, his girl Hillary, maybe not girlfriend, but his girl Hillary didn't get in power and didn't become, the first woman president and all the rest of that. Not that there's anything wrong with a woman president, but the point is you don't just elect them because of that and nothing else, which is the card Hillary played a lot of the time, But at any rate, all of those things aside, this is Obama having a little cry over the fact that the Dems didn't get in for another 4 years and get an opportunity to continue the destruction of the country that he's been going on for the last 8. And, so basically what he's going to do is try to trash the Russians. And it's so interesting, hypocrisy here, because at the time this is going on, the Russians just brokered a ceasefire in Syria, which is like the most positive move in that war. They've said the last 6 years it's the first real positive break, and that the Russians and the Turks are getting together to broker the ceasefire with no Americans there. Isn't that interesting? Even the UN has jumped on this and said that they're quite positive about this. It doesn't supplant what the UN is doing, and even Putin said that, but it's trying to further the peace process, and it's holding. It's actually holding in Aleppo. In the midst of all of the carnage that's been going on over the last weeks, this ceasefire is holding. It appears to be working, but of course the Americans are not involved. Interestingly enough, Putin and the Turks are both saying that we're just kind of waiting because we figure when Trump gets in office that he'll put some people on this peacekeeping or this peace team to help us out with creating a lasting solution in Syria. But Obama won't, because Obama doesn't want peace. He wants war in the name of making his girl Hillary look good. So then he can say, I was right all along. See, this situation was going to blow up. So even though I'm the one that made it blow up and torched all of the possible solutions. So, basically this looks like, we know that Trump is not a crazy ideologue like Obama was, and like to a certain extent George W. Bush was also. So it's not only one side. I mean, George W. Bush was kind of a wacko ideologue. It's got to go this way and only this way. It's just that they come from different sides of the argument, the right and the left. And Obama's another wacko ideologue. Trump is a businessman. He'll sit down and he'll work things out and let's make a deal and let's see what we can do and the art of the possible and all of those things, which is kind of ironic because one of the definitions of politics is the art of the possible if you go back into the theory. But it seems like with people like Obama, and if we go back to Bush, it's the art of crazy ideologues. But Trump will sit down. He's a businessman. He'll sit down and say, can we work this out? Can we make a deal? And yeah, I think he might sit down with Putin, and I think they might work something out in Syria. And what's wrong with that? I mean, how can it be better to have people blowing each other's brains out on a daily basis than to have a peace, even if the peace doesn't perfectly accomplish every political goal that you as a country have? It's a peace. It's better than blasting each other's brains out. I mean, this to me is ironic that, Obama, who's gone on and on about being, I want peace, I want all of these things, and yet here he is taking actions that directly inhibit a process towards peace just because he's mad that Hillary didn't win. It's pathetic. I mean, really, it's pretty pathetic. But I give full marks to Vladimir Putin that he saw through it, and I think that's a good thing for the international community. It's certainly a good thing for the people of Syria that Putin is continuing forward to try to work on that ceasefire, and let's hope it works out. Anyway, you can see how the hypocrisy of the left continues. I mean, even when one of their supposed goals, peace and happiness, is being pursued, but it's not being pursued on exactly their terms with exactly the person they wanted in the White House, they'll work to torch it anyway. Anyway, interested to know what your views are. Please like, please subscribe, comment below. Want to know how you feel, agree, disagree. Terrific. Happy New Year, everybody. And this is the advisor, Dr. Andy, checking out. Bye.